Speaking of 90s sequels that apparently ignored the idea that they had a limited window of opportunity,
Yes.
Batman Resurrection, the novel by John Jackson Miller.
Yes. Yeah. So I listened to the audio version of this book, as well as the follow-up book, which is called Batman Revolution. And both of these books take place shortly after the events. Shortly after the events of Batman '89, and obviously a couple of years or whatever it was before Batman Returns. Basically, it ignores Batman Forever and Batman and Robin from the continuity. And so so Batman Resurrection takes place. I think it's 6 months after the events of Batman '89. So the prologue takes place like during the events, and then the rest of the novel is 6 months after. But in the prologue, we meet an actor or aspiring actor named Carlo Babbage, who later adopts the stage name Basil Carlo. And he goes and gets some kind of like black market makeup because he's an understudy for this real egotistical actor in a stage play. And during this time, so in Batman '89, one of the Joker's schemes was that he had this chemical that he called Smilex, and he put it in all these cosmetic products. And Batman figured out that it was all in the cosmetic products. So all like makeup and shampoo and all this other stuff was completely taken off the market in Gotham. And so Basil Carlo goes into these thugs to get some makeup for this actor that he's understudying. And the actor tells Carlo, why don't you test it on yourself first just to make sure? And so Carlo does, and it starts to distort his face, and he goes into a coma. So, Basil Carlo, for all the Batman aficionados, is the real name of Clayface.
I was wondering, I couldn't remember his actual name, but it's like, who else could it be?
Yeah. So we got Clayface. And then later in the novel, we find out so there's a lot of weird stuff going on in Gotham in the aftermath of the Joker's attack, where he tried to unleash Smilex during the parade, and then you had the whole thing with the cathedral where Batman was chasing him up. One aspect is a lot of Joker's gang is still roaming around, and they're led by one of the gang, the kind of the top gang members from Joker. His name is Lawrence. If you've seen Batman '89, he's the guy with the boombox, and he's got he had the handlebar mustache. And they were actually working for Max Schreck, who was Christopher Walken's character in Batman Returns. And they're destroying all of these like Gotham landmarks because Schreck needs the space for parking for his department stores. And so you've got that going on, and then you have a wing of Gotham General that is treating the victims of Smilex. And by the way, this wing of the hospital is being paid for by generous donations from Bruce Wayne. And it's headed up by a doctor named Hugh Auslander. And I'm going to describe his physical appearance. He's bald-headed, glasses, and a pointy goatee. Hugh Auslander is not his real name. His real name is Hugo Strange.
Okay, so they're basically pulling in characters that I would say Hugo Strange is a fairly obscure Batman villain.
Yeah.
And Clayface is one that they would have really had a hard time with 90s technology.
Oh yeah, they would have. Yeah. Yeah. Not even, I don't even think the CGI that like Cameron was using with Terminator would have worked for it. But yeah, so you got that, the stage is set there, and of course, all of a sudden, the Joker, who everybody thought was dead, suddenly appears because Carlo wakes up from his coma, and Hugo Strange uses his little hypnotic magic on Carlo, and he starts to use Clayface and has him impersonate the Joker. And of course, Batman is dealing, still kind of grappling with the emotional effects from everything that happened in the movie, because he discovers that Jack Napier, who is also the Joker, was the one who killed his parents, and the fact that may still be alive is just really throwing him for a loop. And of course, he's kind of questioning, like, well, how did he survive? Was there did he have like another guy there who was like a stand-in, and that was the guy that got killed? So basically, the movie is, I'm sorry, not the movie, the book is basically just Batman trying to unravel this conspiracy, and then try to figure out like who Hugo Strange really is. And of course, there's this other like little subplot too, where you find out that the Smilex chemical that the Joker was using was actually developed by the CIA.
Oh,
yeah. So there's that aspect of it. But what was nice about this book was that it did bring back some of the characters from Batman '89 that we didn't see later on, and it actually gives actually more time to the characters that kind of had like smaller roles, like Commissioner Gordon, for instance. Batman and Gordon have more interactions with each other than they did in the movies. And also Harvey Dent as well. Harvey Dent's in there. And of course, when I'm hearing Harvey Dent, I'm picturing Billy D. Williams, because that's who played him in the movie. But yeah, I mean, the book is a fine enough like Batman story, and especially in this universe of Batman, which I kind of wish we had gotten more out of it than just it. Basically, just the two movies, at least the two Tim Burton movies that we got.
Right.
Yeah.
You got your monkey's paw wish of more movies technically set in this continuity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then the second book, Batman Revolution, this one centers on the Riddler. And the Riddler's a little different in this story. Of course, it's not the Jim Carrey Riddler, to go back to our movie review. So this Riddler, I was picturing Robin Williams, because that's who Tim Burton wanted to play the Riddler when he was still directing the third Batman movie. Yeah.
That would have been so much better.
Oh yeah, it would have been. Yeah. So in this, the Riddler's real name is Norman Pincus, but he works as a copy boy for the Gotham newspaper, and he also writes these. He creates these puzzles for the newspaper, and he uses his pen name Edward Nigma.
Okay.
Yeah, and we get some of his backstory. He was raised by a single mom. He grew up in the Gotham library. He always liked puzzles, and he always liked riddles. And we find out that his father was a screenwriter in Hollywood, but his career was killed, or his career ended because he got blacklisted. And this was during the McCarthyism. But so we have him, and at first he's very just, very, meek and very kind. He doesn't really, he doesn't, his mother taught him to never, to always be humble, never take credit for anything. Always,
what a perfect lesson for your child.
I know. Yeah, I know. And he took that to heart for the first, 39 years of his life. And so, but the other part of it too is that his mother is sick. She worked at the Axis Chemicals plant where they were making the Smilex. And
Well, that's an awful lot of continuity for 2 movies,
I know, yeah,
2 pseudo movies.
yeah, yeah. And so you have that going on, and on top of all of that, there is a group of terrorists, or actually, it's not groups, but a group of terrorists. They call themselves the Eternal Militia, and they're kind of like the Symbionese Liberation Army from the 70s. Kind of similar vibe to them, and they're led by a young woman named. She calls herself Camille. Well, she calls herself Camille, and as a tribute to Camille, oh God, I'm trying to remember how to pronounce the name. Desmolins, who is a prominent figure of the French Revolution. And a lot of their ideology of this group ties to the groups from the French Revolution. And so what the basic plot of that Revolution is that Max Schreck wants to so in Batman 89 they were supposed to have their bicentennial parade for the 25th for the 200th anniversary for Gotham City, but they canceled it because of the Joker. So Max Schreck says, well, we need to do it again on the 4th of July. And of course, that's where things really just spiral from there because the Eternal Militia decides they want to hijack that. And of course, Gotham City has these new like tactical vans for going after criminals. And of course, the vans were donated generously from Bruce Wayne. And so Batman has to kind of navigate like trying to deal with the militia and everything, and then of course they're getting of course the Riddler gives them gives like tips to the Gotham police, and then he mistakenly believes that they give the tips to Batman, but in reality Batman's just figuring it out himself. And so that just sets off the Riddler, and then of course things spiral from there, and then the Riddler ends up joining the Eternal Militia, and then falls in love with the leader, Camille. Another thing I forgot to mention, a character that pops up in both books, in addition to Max Schreck, is also Selina Kyle. Of course, pre-Catwoman Selina Kyle. Yeah, because they in another character was Alexander Knox. I don't know if you remember him.
No.
He was the real kind of sarcastic reporter in Batman 89. He was the one who was trying to get with Kim Basinger.
Okay, I remember him now.
And actually, Vicky Vale shows up in Batman Resurrection, but yeah, so Knox is in there. There's a scene where they go on a double date where Knox is on he's taking this beautiful young woman named Elena, which is actually Camille in disguise, and then Norman, the Riddler, his date's Selina, and of course Norman just really blows it badly, but yeah, I mean this Batman Revolution has definitely has much more of a political angle to it than Resurrection, and I don't know if I like that one as much as, or I didn't like Revolution as much as Resurrection. I thought it kind of the pacing is a lot slower in that book, and it's I didn't really like the story as much. I didn't think it was as compelling as Resurrection. But I did like how the Riddler was portrayed. Less of a crime genius. Well, he's a genius, but he's not like a bad guy. He's just kind of very misguided and more of a tragic figure than, say, like Jim Carrey was in Batman Forever. But yeah, I mean, these are decent books. And if you're a big fan of Batman, I think you'll probably get some enjoyment out of them.
So here's a question I have.
Yeah.
Could you see these being chopped down enough to fit into a movie, or are they kind of expanding it too much?
You could probably chop it down into a movie, but you might lose a lot of characterizations with some of the with some of them. Uh, especially with the Riddler. You would have to have really condensed that down, because it's really not until halfway through the book when he finally joins the militia. Yeah, so but I mean, it'd be probably actually, if they did like adapt it, it would probably work better. It would have worked better like as a streaming series as opposed to a movie.
Okay, so you wouldn't have actually, you know, in 5 years when you can rent out AI from Warner Brothers for $300 or whatever.
Yeah.
This sounds like a perfect adaptation to make.
Oh yeah. I could see that happening. Yeah.
Just have to secure the likenesses.
Yeah. You gotta pay off Keaton and Nicholson and all those guys. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested in this book, I mean, it's audiobooks available wherever you get your audiobooks. The book is, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever you go.
Yep. Well, it's one of those things that tickles me that it exists.
Yeah.
And you almost think, I almost think to myself, there's a lot of great movies that had not so great sequels. Where, what if you did just open it up to more novels? I mean, I know they did that with Buckaroo Banzai, though I hear that the Buckaroo Banzai sequel novel wasn't great.
Yeah.
But it's like, if it's a way to trick people who don't usually read a novel into reading a novel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.